All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Steelers Today. I'm your host, Eddie Provident, and with me is Dale Lolley. This is DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this show is brought to you by BetQL, the only app that you'll need to make smart bets and get an advantage over your sportsbook. They scan over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game. All major sports, covers everything. Spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets. Their algorithms look at historical performance, matchups, weather, injuries, coaching, and much, much more. They even give you in-game line movements so you can jump on bets in real time. Sharp data to see who the pros are backing. Go to try.betql.co/DKPS to get started now or download the BetQL app. Again, that's try.betql.co/DKPS. Enter the code DKPS at payment for 25% off any BetQL subscription, or use their BetMGM offer to get a free year. You can find all this info in the video description below. So Dale, we got to see Ben Roethlisberger talk today. We got to hear from him, and he said some interesting things about TJ Watt.
Yeah, players in general are going to back players when it comes to negotiations like this. Even in a situation as this one is with TJ Watt, where he didn't practice until 3 days before the game, 4 days before the game, I guess. 3 practices that he got in before the game. So they understand it. As Ben Roethlisberger said, look, I've been through contract negotiations before. Maybe a lot of the guys in that locker room, because the team is so young now, haven't, so they don't really understand the financial side of this. But I do, and I've tried to relay that to people. The interesting thing about this, it used to be some of the toughest negotiations that took place were the rookie contracts. Mm-hmm. You'd see guys, I can remember seeing guys going 10, 12, 15 days into training camp before they got signed in the rookie deals. Well, now the rookie deals are pretty much set, cut and dried. And so, a lot of these younger players might not understand, well, why is this negotiation taking so long? Let's face it, a lot of fans don't understand why the negotiation's taking so long. Like I said yesterday, this isn't buying a new car or even a house. If you're buying a house, think about how long it takes you to do so.
Right.
All the paperwork that you have to go through, all the negotiations. This is a $150 million deal. These take time. You don't just say, okay, we want this deal, yeah, okay, and sign the paper. There's a lot of things that have to happen there. So they understand in that locker room. And as Roethlisberger said, they know how valuable TJ Watt is. Everybody in that locker room knows how valuable he is. Everybody in the coaching staff knows how valuable he is. It's just a matter of, do you want, if you're Art Rooney, to tie up $100 million in guaranteed money to a guy? That's a lot of money. I don't care what sport it is. It's why it's such a big deal when, think about the Albert Pujols deal. Albert Pujols is still playing on that 10-year deal that he signed 10 years ago. He's been cut twice, traded, all that stuff, because he wasn't worth that money. Well, that's the problem that you have when you sign these guaranteed deals.
Yeah, and for me, I like to see that player backing player kind of thing, because so many times we expect players to just be the machine. We talked about this yesterday. We expect them to not be humans. We expect them to just back the company and back the organization all the time, every time. And to see Ben Roethlisberger have TJ Watt's back and say, hey, look, I took a pay cut so that we could pay guys like TJ. That was, for me, I think that does more for the locker room camaraderie. And you're closer to it than me, so maybe I'm just speaking like a fan, but to me that sounds like somebody that has his players back and has his buddies back and wants him to be a part of this team on Sunday in Buffalo.
Yeah, and that's largely what you always hear. Even during the Le'Veon Bell situation, the players were by and large backing Bell until he kind of went back on his word. He said, I'm going to be in on a certain date, told guys that, and then didn't show up. That's when they kind of turned on that a little bit, because at that point it was then affecting their job.
Right.
If for example, TJ Watt walked out and didn't play this year, then you might see some guys say, well, wait a second, now you're leaving the team behind. That's not the case. He's going to play Sunday, and so this will all be forgotten, even if he doesn't get a deal signed.
Dale, Ben also talked about the offensive line today. Now, I liked what he had to say. He talked about how when they make mistakes, they have a fire there. They show this professionalism. It sounds like this is more than just a quarterback trying to pump his offensive lineman's tires. This sounds like a quarterback that actually does believe in the guys in front of him.
Well, he has to. I mean, he can't, even if there is a grain of doubt in the back of his mind, he can't come out publicly and say, yeah, I don't know if these guys can play. I can remember in 2008, there was an awful offensive line. No offense to any of you guys out there, the Trey Essex of the world, you guys of that nature, but they were bad. And yet the Steelers won the Super Bowl. I did a story earlier in the year going back, if you look back at all the Steelers Super Bowl teams and what they averaged per rush, their offensive lines were not great. It doesn't have to be great. It just has to be good enough. And so, can it be good enough? Yeah, I think it can be good enough. Is it going to be awesome? I don't believe so. It just can't be a disaster. If it becomes a disaster, Ben Roethlisberger won't play this whole season. He'll get hurt at some point, and then we'll be seeing Mason Rudolph out there. The line has to hold up. It has to be a good run blocking line, and I think if it is a good run blocking line, that raises the boat for everything else, because if you can run the football and run it effectively, you at least put that shadow of a doubt in the defense's mind. Yeah, you're going to get a big pass rush on 3rd and 8. But if you don't get into 3rd and 8s,
you don't need to worry about that as much.
If you're in 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 4, you can convert that. It doesn't matter how.
And that was the thing this team was missing last year.
Absolutely.
They didn't have any threat of a running game, and teams didn't have to worry about it. And they couldn't get to play action because there was no threat of the run game. So that all plays into this. And I've said this a lot. I've said this on my podcast. I've said this on Steelers Today with DK. For me, I don't see Ben's issues as anything other than 39-year-old knees, and he can't move that well. And that's why these two tackles have to be on their A game this year. They have to be able to play. They have to be able to hold their blocks, because if they can't, you're right, we're going to see. You sure it's going to be Mason Rudolph and not Dwayne Haskins? I'm not even getting into that one again. But the last thing, to your point about the run blocking, that may be the one thing I'm optimistic about because of the interior offensive line.
Well, not only that, but it's a different running back.
It's a very different running back. So hopefully we'll see that. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more push, and that will open up some time for Ben to throw the ball downfield. For Dale Lolley, for DK Pittsburgh Sports, and for BetQL, don't forget to check out the description in the link in the description. I'm Eddie Provident. We appreciate you watching, and we'll